You did not lose hope. You were trained to give it up. Every time you tried and it did not work, every time someone told you to be realistic, every time life handed you an outcome that did not match your effort, you received a lesson, a quiet, repeated lesson. The lesson was this: wanting more is dangerous, and you learned it well, so well that you call it wisdom now. You call it maturity. You call it knowing how the world works. But what if that is not wisdom? What if that is just a wound that stopped hurting because you stopped expecting anything? Most people think hope is something you either have or you do not. Like a gift, like luck. They are wrong. The people who understand what hope actually is, they live differently. They endure differently. They rebuild from things that should have finished them permanently. That is what this is about. Here is the mistake almost everyone makes. They treat hope like an emotion. Something that arrives when things go well, something that disappears when they do not. They look at their circumstances. They decide whether hope is justified. That approach guarantees failure. Because circumstances will always give you reasons to stop. That is how difficulty works. It presents itself as permanent. It presents itself as proof. Most people believe the presentation. They take the feeling of hopelessness as a fact. But it is not a fact. It is a signal from a nervous system under stress. Here's the truth. Hope is not a feeling. It is a decision. It is a discipline. It is something you choose before you feel it, not after. The people who never break, they did not wait to feel hopeful. They chose to act as if the story was not finished. Before there was any evidence, it was not. That is the shift. From passenger to author, from waiting for hope to choosing it. Pain is not the ending. It is the signal. When something breaks, the mind wants to make it permanent. The relationship ends, and you decide you are unlovable. The plan collapses, and you decide you were never capable. This is a misreading. Pain is what happens when something is being reshaped. It is friction, not verdict. The mistake is using present suffering as evidence of a permanent future. The correction is one question, not why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this preparing me for? That question does not erase the pain, but it removes the story that pain is the ending. And that story is the only thing that actually stops people. You are not being broken, you are being rebuilt. From the inside, those two things look identical. Vague hope collapses. Specific hope survives. People are told to stay positive. Just keep hoping. Things get better. But that kind of hope is structurally weak. It has no foundation. The moment difficulty increases, it disappears. The people who hold on through impossible circumstances build hope on evidence. Real evidence. Past evidence. Undeniable evidence. Not evidence from the future. Evidence from what they have already survived. Audit your past, not your future. What have you already come through? What did you rebuild that you swore was gone? What did you carry that should have crushed you? When hope is anchored to what you have already demonstrated, nothing can take it from you. Because it is not a wish, it is a record. You cannot think your way back. You have to move. Hope does not return through thinking alone. It returns through motion. The body leads. The mind follows. When you take one deliberate action, even a small one, you interrupt the loop of despair. You send a signal to your nervous system. You are not frozen. You are not finished. The mistake is waiting to feel hope before acting. People say when things improve, I will start moving again. But the emotion follows the action, not before it. The correction is not a plan, is one act. Today, something that says, I am still here. I am still capable of motion. That act is the first sentence of the next chapter. What nobody names out loud, there is one final layer. Something beneath all the psychology, something that determines whether any of this works in your life. It has nothing to do with strategy. It has to do with what you believe you deserve. Underneath the grief, underneath the exhaustion, underneath the feeling that nothing will change, there is a quieter belief running, one nobody names out loud. The belief that maybe the struggle is deserved, that maybe the difficulty is not bad luck, that maybe something is fundamentally lacking. A verdict from early in life, handed down quietly, never openly questioned. If that belief is running in the background, hope does not feel like comfort. It feels like a threat, because to hope means to risk. And to risk means to possibly confirm what you fear most about yourself. This is why some people walk away from good things, why they get close and find reasons to leave, why hope itself begins to feel dangerous. That is not a flaw, that is a wound, and wounds heal, but only when you see them. The people who never break are not people who were never hurt. They are people who made a decision no outcome can revoke. They decided, I am allowed to want more. I am allowed to believe in a future that does not yet exist. That decision does not come from success. It comes from one honest moment where you ask, why do I not believe I deserve this? And then choose quietly to answer differently. Here is what ties everything together. Hope is not the belief that things will be okay. Hope is the refusal to make the story final before it is over. Every chapter you are currently living, no matter how long it has lasted, no matter how many times you have tried, it is still a chapter, not the book. The moment you stop deciding it is over, something changes. Not in the world around you immediately, in the quality of force you bring to it, in the decisions you allow yourself to make, in the possibilities you stop closing off. You are not someone waiting for hope to return. You are someone who chooses to remain the author. Instead of a character who waits for the ending, that decision is available right now, exactly as things are. You are still writing before you move on. One question. Where have you accepted a conclusion that was only ever a comma? What part of your story have you called finished that is not actually finished? If something here struck you, not just in your thoughts, but somewhere older than thought, that is the part of you that has not given up, even when you believed it had. Listen to that part. It has been trying to speak for a long time. Comment below. I am still writing, because that is the truth. And sometimes saying it out loud is the first act of the next chapter.